Hey, I'm Chris with Palmetto State Armory, and we're here at the Gathering at the Sawmill in Lawrence, South Carolina, joined by a legend. I don't know that I've been this intimidated during an interview in a very, very long time. Royce Gracie, who needs no introduction, but I'll do it anyway right now. Mr. Gracie, thank you very much for taking the time. I know you're busy, you're not here for long, so we wanted to take advantage. If you don't know, you should know, UFC 1, 2, and 4 champion, longest fight in Pride history at 90 minutes long, and that's my first question for you. You're obviously a legend in every respect, you come from a legendary family. 90 minutes long. Was that your hardest fight, or is there a shorter fight that you feel was your hardest fight you ever faced?
All fights are difficult because you win in 30 seconds or 3 hours. It doesn't make a difference. It's all difficult. It's just it's a question of strategy. Okay. So you make the opponent make a mistake in 30 seconds and you caught him. But it wasn't easy.
Not at all.
It wasn't easy. The training camp was the same, so it was difficult. Everything was the same, you see.
So you trained the same.
Because he made a mistake early, hey,
it happens. Yeah, I got you. So you're training for a 90-minute fight essentially every time, regardless of how long it actually ends up going.
On the beginning, there was no time limit, no weight division, no gloves, no rules. So I tell people all the time, in order for you to win, or in order for you to be a champion, you have to know what you're doing. That's the first thing.
Right.
I don't know how to play American football. I have no business in that field.
Me neither.
So the second thing, you gotta have endurance. You can have the fastest car in the world. What are you gonna do without gas? You're gonna push the car around?
Right, yeah, good point.
Not gonna go far. So then becomes gas. You have to have gas. So it gotta be in that order: knowledge, endurance, and gas.
So knowledge, endurance, and gas.
I mean, not endurance and the power. The third one is power. Sorry.
No, that's good.
The third one is power. Yes.
So when you're fighting at length like that, does it go in that order for you? Meaning, is there a point in a 90-minute fight with someone who obviously was a worthy opponent where it becomes mental over physical, and does that change throughout the fight?
It's always, the mental part is always there.
Okay.
But you cannot have mental and not have endurance. You won't last.
Makes sense.
So you can have the mental attitude, the best attitude in the world, but if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to swim. But I have the best attitude in the world. You're gonna drown.
Still gonna drown.
So you have to have knowledge. You gotta know what you're doing. Then becomes endurance. Then becomes power.
It all adds up. Perfect. You're famous for fighting. Has that been a blessing or a curse? A bit of both?
Growing up Gracie,
yes.
It can be a blessing, it can be a curse. Depend. If you know how to defend yourself, it's a blessing. Because the question will come up. Hey, I heard you come from that fighting family.
I bet.
Can you defend yourself? Can you fight?
Right.
At least know how to defend yourself in my family. So if you don't, it can be a curse.
I was gonna, yeah. So that leads me to believe that it's probably almost a requirement. An unfortunate prerequisite for being a Gracie would be you better be able to live up to the name, because some knucklehead somewhere is going to challenge you on it, right?
We don't force each other to learn. The brothers, cousins, the nephews. We don't force each other, but you better know. Yeah. That's all we say.
So we're at the Gathering at the Sawmill here in Lawrence. This is a major gun event. I think what you are, you're a practitioner to the nth degree. It would be arguably hard to find somebody better at what you do than you. I think what you do goes so well, pardon the pun, but it's so hand in hand with what we're here doing. The mindset of the protector, of the citizen with a higher responsibility to his fellow man, willing to get in between them and the bad guy. Do you feel and do you find kind of a natural chemistry between what you do in the gun community?
The concentration to be able, people saying, oh no, I just grab a gun and pull the trigger. No.
Right.
the breathing, to be a sniper, to be able to settle, there's a technique on everything, and on every different gun there's a technique for a different the calculation for a sniper to shoot long range, everything. It's not just people think, oh, you just grab the gun and shoot. No, it's a technique for it. I love that.
1,000 things going into what looks like one smooth motion.
It's like jiu-jitsu. It's like somebody was telling me earlier, man, my son, they was telling me, yeah, my son started training, and he's saying that that's what the gentleman was telling me, that his son is saying that the different body parts are moving in different directions at the same time.
Yeah.
Kind of like shooting. You're moving, you're hiding, you're engaging the target, you're calculating the distance and the aiming, the breathing, and everything is happening at the same time.
Muscle memory becomes paramount, right? You
That's
have to do it so many times.
That's why we train. So you don't have to think about it.
Your family pioneered Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, your lineage. And that has, to me, in my world, it feels like that's becoming suddenly popular. Do you have the same impression? Is it growing in its popularity in the States?
Okay, coming from Brazil, when we first arrived in America, it's almost like Baby Ruth, baseball player, going to Brazil. We don't have baseball in Brazil.
No clue.
So people will be like, who is that?
Right.
Who is he?
Right.
What did he do again? So that was us coming. Jiu-Jitsu has been around Brazil for many years. My father taught 2 or maybe 3 former presidents, and passed through his hand, and everybody, you see, took class with my father at one time, and my uncles and my cousins and brothers, but what happened in Brazil, people didn't know in the world until we brought to America. Once America found out that Horton created the UFC, and that went viral all over the world. So once America found out, the world found out.
Right. And that wasn't, I mean, in the scheme of things, that wasn't so long ago, correct? What year did UFC start?
93.
93.
November 93.
Okay, yeah,
that was the first one.
Man.
But then, I mean, on the beginning, there was no gloves, no time limit, no weight division.
Right.
There's
no hold
shocking.
barred.
It was shocking for everybody. So
12-year-old Chris remembers being in the room when people, forgive us, but other people had ordered and recorded pay-per-view fights from UFC, and watching what we watched, I remember that being like, whoa, these guys are like the real gladiators, the machines that as a kid you want to grow up to be. Every boy looks at that and goes, man, you just want to be that strong, you want to be that agile and that quick to defend. I remember that.
But then what people did, that's what people think. But what they really saw was the technique of somebody my size, 178 pounds, 180 pounds, fighting somebody 250 pounds and defend himself without taking a punch, without taking a hit, subdue the opponent without hurting the opponent. So people are like,
that's
oh
true.
my God,
that's true.
I want to learn this thing, but I want to learn jiu-jitsu. I want to start training because of Royce. The people say. I was like, no, you didn't start learning and training because of me. It's because of the technique that you saw. That's what attracts you.
So that hits at a point I'm curious about. It's easy to look at things. What I like about jiu-jitsu is you allow strikes in jiu-jitsu, right? But it is more about subduing your opponent, to use your words. If somebody doesn't know jiu-jitsu at all, what is it beyond fighting?
Jiu-jitsu is a self-defense martial art. So it's not boxing, karate, they're offensive. Either you hit the person or you don't. You see, if there's a problem, a boxer who knock you out. Jiu-jitsu, I don't rely on punching and kicking. I rely on subdue the opponent without hurting the opponent. That's the idea. So if tomorrow you get in a confrontation with your brother that got too much to drink, you can subdue him, you see, control him without having to hurt him.
Is that the goal of jiu-jitsu?
Yes.
Don't hurt the other guy.
That's why on the first UFC, my father, before walking to fight, my father said, I don't want you to hurt anybody.
No kidding.
Don't punch, don't hit anybody. I was like, come on, Dad, it's a fight. They're
Yeah.
trying to hurt me.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, no, you can't hurt the opponent.
Just make them give up.
Just make them give up, yes. Just win by just clean jiu-jitsu.
That's very counterintuitive.
But that was a different order from my mother. My mother on the other side was like, son, your father doesn't know what he's talking about. I want to see some blood. I want to send the opponent to the hospital.
Mama bear.
Mama was bad.
Nobody's gonna blame her. I'd never known that. So is that why in jiu-jitsu they tap and it's over, right? When you train and you do, I think it's called rolls.
It's
when
a
you,
submission,
yeah.
yes. If I apply a choke and you feel like you're gonna pass out, you better tap or you're gonna go to sleep.
So Royce Gracie gets in a street fight. I'm sure you don't, but let's just say you do. Some jerk comes up.
Never had a fight in the street.
You never have? No kidding.
Not yet.
Good for you. Good for you.
People read on my forehead, don't F with me with blinking lights goes around, going around.
You have an aura when you walk in. I don't think a lot of people are going to want to mess with you, even if they know who you are or not. You carry yourself in that way, which is a compliment. But let's run with the scenario.
That's good to have that aura.
It is. I wish I had it. People look at me and poke. If let's hypothetical, you're in a street fight. You're going to let that guy go the minute he says, "Okay, I'm done." How would a person on the street know that? Somebody's attacked me. I defend. They go, "Okay, I'll let you go."
But the thing is, I wouldn't even let it start. I wouldn't even let it start.
Diffuse first, as best you can.
It's
Is that why? Or?
F you, no, F your mother. And he'll see the blinking lights going around my forehead, like, don't F with me.
Right, right.
He'll feel that he'll be thinking twice. I don't drink, I don't smoke. A couple of times I warn people, hey, you're drunk and I'm not. Are you sure you want to do this?
Smart, yeah.
It's like, I'll give them a chance.
Sounds like they've listened so far.
Yes.
Are you know Jocko Willing?
Yes.
I think he's done a lot for jiu-jitsu. I'm a dad of 2 boys, and we read his books, The Way of the Warrior Kid. And so now my boys, 8 and 6 respectively, want to do jiu-jitsu. There's a part of me as a dad, I hesitate because I don't know. I'm outside of it. I've never been a part of it. But to me and to other parents whose kids need something to instill discipline, is jiu-jitsu the way to go?
You're not gonna learn, it's different than learning MMA, learning how to fight. No, we teach the people how to defend themselves. So it's different.
Yeah.
Like I said, I never had a fight in the street, never walk away from one, but I never had one, you see, because I diffuse the whole situation. And it gives you such a confidence that you carry yourself in such a way that people notice that. It's like, uh-oh, something's not right over here.
Right.
It's like
He's too confident.
It's like you walking around with a gun on your waist. You talk to people with confidence because you know what you got on your waist. You see?
Yeah, I do.
So it's like your kids will be walking around with that kind of confidence.
It's very communal, by the way. Jiu-jitsu seems, from what I can tell, that you kind of become a family if you join up. Tell me about your belt that you train. Now, well, let me ask this first. You're semi-retired, from what I understood. What do you do with your days now?
I run, I work out, I teach, I shoot, I hunt.
Yeah.
I live
You're
life.
enjoying life.
I live life.
Good for you.
I
You
say all the
deserve it.
time, life is good in my world. It's my world. People just happen to live in it.
I love it. When you train, practice, terminology, you wear a dark blue belt, right?
Correct.
Despite the fact that you have the highest degree possible in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Tell me why you don't wear the highest belt you
I
could.
didn't get to the highest degree yet,
Okay.
but on the beginning, when my father learned, was white, a light blue, and a dark Royal Navy blue collar. Okay, so there was 3 belts.
Okay.
And then they create the federation. By the end of the 60s, beginning of 70s, they created the BJJ, IBJJF Federation, Jiu-Jitsu Federation Brazil, and they set up the new belt rankings. So they award my father with a red belt as a grandmaster. And through the years, people were getting awarded a black belt, they were getting a black belt without knowing the whole self-defense program.
Okay.
That means, imagine Mike Tyson walking into a karate school and he will knock out all the karate black belts. Would that make him a black belt in karate?
You shouldn't, right?
He doesn't know the katas because he's a good fighter, he's a good boxer, he's knock everybody out, doesn't make that, but he doesn't know the system. So people were getting awarded a black belt, but without knowing the system, without knowing the whole self-defense system. So my father, in the last years of his life, he went backwards and he put a Royal Navy blue belt back on.
Okay.
And when he passed, I almost got promoted by him. So when he passed, it's like, okay, I put a belt like his, put his signature on the end, the belt, and that became my belt.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Why? Who have doubts about my belt?
Nobody. Very confident. I like it. I like it. If somebody's looking to train, maybe with you, is there a place they can go online to figure out where you're training? How would I get a...
RoyceGracie.com.
Okay.
And you see all my schools, my black belts, all my representatives. I have about 50 guys, 50 schools around the world.
Oh, no kidding.
So
I could find one of those and go there.
Those, yes.
Okay.
But there's so many people teaching today. So my cousins, my brothers, they all have their own affiliation.
Yeah.
So
how do you sniff out a good jiu-jitsu? Is it teacher? What is the proper word?
A place that, because most people, they are looking for martial art. They are not looking for a tournament.
Right.
It's like you walk into a car dealer. You want to buy a family car because you got 4 kids, you got a wife, you want to buy a minivan to fit everybody. But then the salesman will sell you a Formula 1 car. And you show up at home with a Formula 1. It's like, well, no, I don't want to compete in Formula 1. It only fits you.
Right.
It's like, so you walk into a school, to a martial art academy, and they put you to compete in tournaments. Martial art in general was not made for competition, for tournament. Martial art was made for you to defend yourself in a street fight situation. So you're looking for a school that will teach you self-defense, not competition. A lot of the schools today, you walk in and they, oh yeah, we teach self-defense, and they put you to compete and score points.
Gotcha.
It's not supposed to be that way. So they guide you like a car salesman. They guide you to buy the Formula 1 when you walk in to buy a minivan for your family. But you walk out, you come home with a Formula 1 car, your wife will shoot you.
I'm that guy, for sure. Okay, RoyceGracie.com if they want to find you, and over 50 instructors around the country to learn to do what you do. It's a pleasure to meet you, and an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.